Grips, we're going to start off with the basic ones and move on from there. First one we're going to go through is your typical four-seam grip. You can either go horseshoe in or horseshoe out. I've always gone here with this, with the horseshoe on the inside of the index finger. Did not know until I got along in my career that most people threw it like this with the horseshoe out. It's a good pitch. Beginners need to know it. Some common things is to control the seams with the pads of your fingers. The pads of your fingers here on your power fingers need to control a seam, and on the bottom with your thumb also control a seam, either there or there. You can see it right there. From there, you go into your basic two-seam grip. You find the thin part of the ball, and you can go across it this way. Again, control the seam with the middle and index finger, and on the bottom right here on this seam. Okay, so you're always controlling a seam with your fingers. That's across. And you have guys that throw it like this, just on top of the seams, riding them. Again, control a seam right here, and that's your basic two-seam fastball. A lot of grips operate off of the two-seam, and we'll get into that in a second. I can go into some of the stuff that operates off of the two-seam. The first one that I would mention is if you've never thrown a sinker, if you want to learn how to throw a sinker, it's a hard one to learn. It takes you a while to get used to it, but you can start here on top of the ball, or again, two-seam here, riding those two top seams on the thin part of the ball. The thing about a sinker is that normally, on a normal two-seam fastball, your thumb is at the bottom, controlling a seam here. Some people tuck it under. I was never able to. But they're still controlling the seam on the bottom. With a sinker, if you go here across the seams that are riding it, and you move your thumb to the side, instead of under the ball, move your thumb to the side of the ball, and that is going to get you towards your sinker. You're basically taking any control off of the bottom of the ball. So instead of being under it on a regular two-seam, you're going to be here on the side, and you can move your ring finger to control the ball a little bit better. Always try to control the seam with these two fingers still, but instead of like a normal two-seam and being on the bottom, move your thumb to the side, take the bottom out of the ball, and let it go that way. Now we can move into, let's go with the cutter. We'll come back to the cutter in a little bit, but the basic concept of a cutter is you have the ball here, and here's a two-seam grip there, or a two-seam grip there, and a lot like your sinker. With your cutter, what you're actually going to do is move your thumb back towards the middle of the ball, and you're going to be operating off of your middle finger on your pad there and your thumb, and you're going to split the ball in half. So if you split the ball in half from here, okay, if I take this finger off and I look underneath, I'm still not completely centered. To get your best cutter, you center it there, and you're still operating off of your middle finger and your thumb. You've cut the ball in half, and so when the ball comes out, it's riding off your middle finger and cutting. Now, the best way to use this one as far as a grip, because it may not be comfortable if you don't have a seam when you're cutting the ball in the bottom half, is to go with this grip here. You can see that across the seams going this way. You take your finger and you're just going to rotate the ball a little bit to where your middle finger and your index finger ride that seam. From there, underneath, you can cut it in half there, and you're still controlling this seam a little bit, and you're up the middle. That way, you're still getting the ball coming off of your middle finger. Index finger doesn't play a major role other than stability. You've cut the ball in half. You're not using a true fastball grip. It's almost like half of the ball is hanging out, but you're still controlling a seam on the bottom. So on that one, you're just here from a two-seam grip. See where my thumb is here on this bottom one? It's not centered entirely or cut in half. Rotate the ball, straddle that seam, move your thumb over, and there's your cutter. Throw it just like a fastball. It's going to roll off your middle finger. You can see from this look, that's the ball getting cut in half. Cutter's a hard one to learn, but it's a great pitch. I would recommend it instead of a breaking ball for younger pitchers. Okay, with a breaking ball, curveball, slider, different velocities that they're thrown at. You got guys that throw hard breaking balls. You get guys that throw big loopy ones, 12-6, overhand, sliders that come across. There's a variety just depending on the arm angle. We're going to start with just your basic grip on a breaking ball, controlling a seam on the bottom, going across, control the top seam with your middle finger. Most people are on the inside. So we're here and we're here, controlling the inside of both seams and breaking through when you throw. Don't wrap it and try to guide it like this or like this. Let the middle finger, like a fastball, get through and pull through. All right, the next one on the breaking ball. A lot of guys that throw from the side have used this in the past just because it feels more natural to them. And what you can do on that one is from a four-seam grip, middle finger, control the inside of the horseshoe, go right there, thumb controlling this seam. So look at the difference here. Regular breaking ball there, rotate it inward, control that seam right there with your middle finger, and you're here. And again, it's across this way. And the feel that you can get off of this one, this is a good beginning breaking ball too, just because your middle finger is controlling that seam. For a lot of younger guys, even I've seen a lot of people throw this before, is we go back to that first grip where you're controlling the inside of the seam. Index finger doesn't do a whole lot. Thumb is down here on the bottom on this seam, always controlling that one. But if you move your middle finger over to the outside of that seam and you move your index to the inside and you start using both of these fingers, a lot of people felt more comfortable with it because you can use both fingers as leverage on that seam, so on either side. So instead of just using your middle finger and rotating through, now you can use this to get more feel for the ball. It's the same on the bottom, but you're going to straddle that seam and you can use both fingers to get through it. It does reduce the friction, or it does reduce the spin coming out of there because there's more friction, but it's still also something that you can throw for strikes because you get a lot more feel for it because you're using both of your power fingers. Now we can go to change-ups. A lot of people throw different change-ups. There's a million of them. Basically, the main concept is you're just choking the ball off in your hand. That's a palm ball. You're just choking it off so that there's more friction coming out, less velocity. Finding the seams here, I mean, that's just a regular palm ball, but what comes off of this is you got people that throw the circle change, so you can be up here like this, pinky on the side. There's your typical circle change up. Wasn't my favorite, never had a feel for it. I went other ways, but a lot of people tuck this finger. They're controlling the ball up top with their middle finger and their ring finger. And that's a four seam. You can go two seam with it. Okay, right there. Younger guys are people that don't quite have a feel on that. If you want to get there eventually, a really good one for them starting off is middle and index finger on the top, tucking these two on the bottom, and throwing it from there. That way you can stabilize and you get more control because you've got 3 fingers on the bottom and then just the 2 riding on the top. But only 1 power finger on the top with the middle finger. Right there. You can do it 2 seam 2. So just the adjustment is your pinky's not on the side and your index finger is here. You can move it down to the bottom and you're almost trapping the ball and choking it off in there like that. Okay, so then you can go to a grip that I've seen a lot of people use in the past. It's not a split. I don't know what they call it nowadays. Middle finger, ring finger, split the ball at the top, get the other ones on the side, get more control. You're controlling all parts of the ball right there with that one. And you can work on jamming it in there as much as you want to reduce speed, but you can move these up to the top, controlled on the bottom, or you can move these down to the bottom, still there controlling it. Again, just another variation of it. Okay, now I'll give you some of the 2 of the best that I've ever seen change-up wise. I used one of them because it was super comfortable. Another guy I knew that pitched for a really long time, and he was one of the only ones that threw it this way. We'll start with that one. And it was always rated as a very high pitch for him. It was his best pitch. It was his out pitch. He could control it well. But the concept was he had started off with this grip, choking it away, kind of like a circle. And then he moved on because he didn't have, when you choke it off like that and you don't have as much on your sensors, on your fingers, a lot of times, a lot of people have a hard time controlling it. So what he did is he wanted to feel the ball more out on his fingertips. So he moved the ball as far out onto his sensors on his fingertips as he could. So he was throwing his, see how much spacing there is there? Instead of choking it off like this, he moved it out very far on his fingertips to where he just barely controlled it. But when you look at it, he's got control on all sides of the ball. He can feel it with his fingertips. He's on the seams on the top, and he's throwing it this way. This is a tough one to learn, but if you get used to it, it's going to be your best pitch. It's going to come out a lot slower. It's going to look just like a fastball, but with the lack of leverage that you have on it, because it's so far out on your fingertips, and it's not choked back, fastball grip, breaking ball grip, changeup, out on the fingertips, controlling it on both sides. Similar to what I was showing earlier with that one, where it was choked off, put the fingers on the side, let it get out on your fingertips, start playing catch with it. It's a great one to learn, one of the best. Now you can go to what I do not recommend for any young players. I really don't recommend it unless you absolutely have to use it just to throw in another pitch. Splitties. I started throwing mine in high school. I never had elbow problems with it. Was one of the lucky ones, I guess. There's a lot of stuff out there on split fingers and damage that it can cause. Go ahead and Google it. I'm not a doctor. I started 2 grips on the splitty. Middle seam, or middle finger controls that seam. Split it as much as I could. Walk around school, go to work like this. Cutting the ball in half. When it comes out, it's coming out off that middle finger, which gives it the tumble this way. There's that grip going up the seam there. Or, like the breaking ball I was showing you earlier, middle finger goes on that seam right here. Split it. Again, control the seam with the middle finger, and you're right there. Thumb can go anywhere. There's your splitty. Now, I evolved from that to get more control and into what was my best pitch and what basically kept me alive. splitting it this way, moving all of the other fingers to the side. Thumb over here like a circle. It's bottomed out, nothing on the bottom controlling it. Finger on the side, control. So the difference, regular splitty. Okay, that's a big grip for a splitty. Normally you'd see Roger Clemens would be on top of it here, but he was still throwing it a lot harder. Okay, you can go a step further, change up. You can split it. Control the seams. You can feel a seam on the knuckle there. On your middle finger there. Move the other fingers to the side for control and for feel. Thumb, you can pretty much put it wherever I usually kept it, right about here. Great pitch. That's it for grips. If you have any comments or recommendations, go ahead and leave me a message on Facebook or on my website, blog or whatever. You can leave them on here too. If you want me to go into depth on any more of them, or if you have any more questions on the grips or how I'd recommend them or when to start throwing them or not, go ahead and ask. But for the most part, that's it. Thanks, and share and like this if you found it interesting or informative.